Hello everyone, welcome to the VanHackCON, and during this webinar I am going to talk a little bit about how to build a great GitHub and get noticed by recruiters. I am Murilo, I am an interview advisor and a technical instructor here at VanHack, and I will try to help you as much as I can today, okay? So a little bit about our agenda. So firstly, we are going to discuss the purpose. So why GitHub? Why should you care about having a GitHub in the first place? After that, we are going to move on to the sections of your portfolio, in which we are going to discuss each section in more detail. Inside each project, moving a little bit forward, we are going to get in a particular project and understand why READMEs inside the projects can be really important and can be really useful for the developers and the recruiters to understand your work. And in the end, I'm going to bring some questions that you asked us. So these questions came from our community. Okay. So let's start with why GitHub. So why should you build a portfolio in the first place, right? So why should you have a GitHub? According to GitHub, more than 73 million developers and more than 4 million organizations are present in GitHub. So this is huge. This is amazing. So many people and so many organizations in a single place in which you can share your code, collaborate with other people. It's free. It's totally free nowadays. And you can have a bunch of different features. You can style your portfolio in so many different ways. You can organize your code, organize your projects. And for most of us, it's 100% free. And it's really powerful for what it's bringing to us here. Collaboration and networking. So this is something that is key here. You can collaborate to several people, several different developers, and you can build networking with them. You can create a great first impression to the developers. If you have a portfolio, you can show to the recruiters that you can actually do the job that they are looking for, and thus create a really good first impression, right? Getting invited for interviews. So each one of us know that you are supposed to build a resume, a cover letter, a LinkedIn, in order to get invited to interviews. But also nowadays, GitHub portfolios are really important for you to get called to an interview. So there are some cases on VanHack in which people did not get even called to an interview because this person didn't have any product on GitHub. And this is not really uncommon. So you already have the knowledge. So show it to the recruiters. Make it everything well organized in your portfolio and show to them what you can truly do and how you could truly contribute to their company once you join them. So this will make you stand out from the crowd. And that's actually what you want. Recruiters receive several applications daily, and they need to decide which ones are the best candidates. So help them to decide that by creating a portfolio and showing that you can stand out from the crowd. Candidates being rejected, as I mentioned before, for having no GitHub project at all. This happens not only here in VanHack, but also in any other hiring to platform. GitHub is crucial for you to get a new job position nowadays. Okay, so portfolio sections, moving a little bit forward. So how is a GitHub page organized? So basically, let's discuss a little bit about the sections now, and then after that, we are going to see a real example of that. So firstly, the bio and the intro, and there you will be able to put your photo, the organization that you work with, a little bit about yourself, projects, and social media, that also any other information that you can show to the recruiters and to other developers. After that, on the right section, you can see and you can find the profile README. So here you will be able to put more information about you, the technologies that you work with, and it's more or less like a resume, but it's amazing because it's inside your portfolio, it's inside your GitHub. This is pretty much a new feature. It was introduced a couple of years ago, and there I'm going to show to you a little bit after here how you can set up that, and it's amazing. It's an amazing feature. Pin projects and commits, last but not the least. So here you will be able to pin 6 of your most relevant projects, and those will be the projects that will appear on your first page. So make sure you put only your most relevant projects and be strategic about it. So if you are working with a particular technology, maybe you want to put your projects that contain that particular technology there, okay? And in the end, the contributions that you made throughout the year, which appear in a graph in the end of this section. So shall we see a real example here? Let's go to GitHub so we can see it. So here we are on GitHub. This is actually my GitHub to show as an example. So let's start with the bio here. And as you can see here, there is a photo. Definitely put a photo so you can give some personality to your portfolio. This is really important as well. My name, a brief description about myself. So my bio here. Put a phrase that describes you, say something about your personality, a brief summary about my followers, my following actually, and also the stars that I have, the company that I'm working on right now. You can put your most relevant product, and also you can put your most relevant social media as well. Okay, moving on to the right here, this is your profile README. So as I mentioned to you, this is a feature that was introduced on GitHub on the last years. And to create that, all you have to do is create a project. I'm going to show to you here. You only need to create a project which has the name of your account. So in my case is this one. So / the name of my account. It's a public repository, of course. So if you want to check it out later, you can definitely come to my GitHub and check it. And it's basically a README, so a regular README, but it's so powerful because here you can create a dynamic resume, a dynamic first impression to your interviewer. So if we go inside the README here, I'm going to show to you the code. And this is basically a markdown file. And as you can see inside GitHub, hopefully we can also add HTML, which is so powerful because here you can add HTML tags, images, links, GIFs, and other things as well. So if you want to get the links that are here, I'm going to ask you to please pause the video, so feel free to do that. But also this portfolio is of course public. So if you want to come here to my GitHub account and take that, you can pick it up and of course put your own style. There are infinite possibilities of styling here, and that's what makes this so amazing. Okay, so let's go back to my first page. And here, as you can see, I tell a little bit about myself. And here, there are some really nice integrations in which you can show a little bit about the most used languages on my GitHub. Of course, this is mine, okay? So do yours the way you want. This is just an example for you. And in the end, the technologies that I love and use. Those icons are free and public. And again, if you want to check it out, just come to my repository and you will be able to find it. Okay, so moving on a little bit down below, you can find my pinned repositories. So those are the most relevant ones. So you can see that I'm mostly focused on TypeScript. and JavaScript. So I put all my projects that contain that particular technology here, so the recruiter and the interviewer can see that firstly. All right. Make sure you put a brief description about what is contained in those repositories, so it is a little bit more organized and the recruiter can understand how he or she is supposed to take a deep dive into that particular project. Okay. And of course, so you can create more interest about it. One nice thing to mention is that when you go to the repository section, make sure you put some tags here. So you can do that in the description. In the same place that you put that first description, you can also add some tags. And this will create that feeling of more organization here. So if the recruiter is more interested in React systems, for instance, he or she can go here and search for React tags, okay? So let's go back to the overview here. So down below, after the pin projects, you can also find the contributions. So this is something that is really important and really nice feature from GitHub as well. And here you can show to the interviewer your consistency. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see in my example here, there are some gaps, of course. During some time, I coded less, and that's perfectly fine. Just try to keep some consistency so you can show to the interviewer that you are constantly coding and that you are constantly contributing to your GitHub projects and to other projects as well. In your GitHub, you will find an option here. It's not shown here because I am not signed in, but in your, you can definitely find that. And make sure you enable private contributions as well, okay? Because the numbers will appear here and you will also be able to show your private contributions. Don't worry, the person who is seeing your account, who is seeing your portfolio here, will not be able to see your private contributions, the content of your private contributions. This person will only be able to see the amount of contributions that you made. Okay, so don't worry about data privacy in this case. It will not be a problem at all. Okay. So this is about the main page. So let's go back to the presentation so I can share with you more content. Okay, so back to the presentation here. We saw a real example right now. So let's take a look inside each project right now. So how a good README can draw attention of recruiters and other developers. So why should you care about the README in your project? Draw attention to recruiters and developers, right? So this is one of the most important things about the README. But also you can enhance the developer experience of your portfolio. So be professional and show that you care. Remember that you are not building a system only for you. You are also building a system for other developers, for a whole community, and for people to understand actually what you are trying to do over there. Setting up your product and testing that should be effortless. So people should be able to understand that in an easy way, and also should be able to set it up and test it. So everything should be really clear, okay? So good points to include in your READMEs project. The project's purpose. This is something that some people neglect, but it's also really important to show to the person who is seeing your portfolio that you can understand the impact that your project is trying to create in the world. You are not building a project just because you like that technology. This can be, of course, a reason, but that's not all about it. You want to solve something, and that's what we are trying to do in the software engineering world, right? As clear and as predictable as possible. So all information that you think would be important for the person who is seeing your portfolio. So please include those there. Technology, use it, and architectural decisions. This is something that can really be important as well. So you can show how you structure your ideas, how you structure the technologies that you are trying to use here. And also, again, so the person can understand your strategy here and what did you do at the end of the day. So how to set up, as I mentioned before, how to run and test. Those are really basic things that should ideally be included in your README, so the person has no challenges at all to do that. API documentation, if applicable, of course. Sometimes we are not building an API, but if you are building one, Postman has a really nice feature, and I'm going to show to you afterward, in which you can, with 2 or 3 clicks, it's really easy. You can export a public website showing some examples of your API calls, some examples if there is any error. So it's really useful as well. Screenshots or videos, again, if applicable. So if we are talking about UI, front-end development, some screenshots, videos, and demos can be really useful to make, again, the person understand what you are building here. Folders and packages organization. This is something that I really like to do because people organize folders and packages in different ways, and that's definitely fine. Just make sure you explain to your audience how did you specifically organize that in your project. All right. Any other coding standard or pattern that your audience should be aware of? Again, this is really connected with being as predictable and as clear as possible to your audience. Let's see a real example again. So let's move back to GitHub. So here we are again on GitHub, and this is an example, a project that you can find also on my GitHub. It's public. Again, I leave most of my products, I leave public here. So this is an example of README, and here you can find a little bit about what you can find. So a summary of with some links, and you can move on to each section by clicking here. And yeah, so firstly, I put the purpose of the product here. So it doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be something really complex. Just briefly what you are trying to resolve here, okay? And the main features. Technologies that I use it, so Node.js, NPM, so on. So so the person know what he or she is expecting to see here. The requirements, so what dependencies the person should have if this person is going to set up the project, architecture and directories, as I mentioned before, so the person can understand what exactly this person can find if navigating through my project, local configuration, so a really easy and quick tutorial on how to configure that. Testing, something really important as well. A tutorial on how to test should be ideally included in your README. The Postman documentation, and this is the URL that I mentioned before, and this is really easily generated by the Postman UI itself. You just have to click there and then publish your documentation, and it will take you to a URL in which you will be able to create this web page for you, and it's public and it's free, which is awesome. And I also like to put some tasks and possible improvements in the end, so it can show a little bit more of awareness. So I can show to the person who is seeing my product that I am aware of some things that I can improve, and that I'm going to go back and improve that from time to time if I have to. All right. Maybe if you are open to contributions, you can also put some section in the end about contributions, some contributions guidelines as well. Usually in my project that I'm open to do that, I put an additional section in the end. All right, so let's get back to the presentation now. All right, so back to the presentation. So right now, in the end, I would like to address some questions that were brought by you, actually. So were brought by the community for us to answer here. So the first question was, I only have private repositories. So what should I do in this case? So with that question, I imagine that the person was trying to say that he or she works with GitHub, but there are only private repositories and this person cannot open that to the world, of course, for legal reasons, and that would not be nice. And yeah, so one thing that you could do here, there are actually more than one solution for that, but one thing that you could do is in GitHub, there are some repositories which contain some challenges that you can resolve. So one thing that you could do is to resolve those challenges and then create a README for that, publish that on GitHub, and try to be as professional as possible. So only because you don't have, you were not paid for that, it doesn't mean that you should not publish that on your GitHub. It's a project, it contains a README, it contains a workflow, so try to be as professional as possible and to show to the recruiter that you would be able to build a software just like that one, just like the one that the recruiter is looking for you to solve. You can build a really similar project. All right. Another thing that you can do, try to think about a problem that you want to resolve, right? So try to think about a real life problem that you would like to resolve. And it doesn't have to be original. Maybe that problem already has a solution, but try to come up with an idea and try to structure that idea and then create a product on top of that. And then you will have, again, you were not paid to do that, but that doesn't matter to the recruiter. The only thing that matters here is to show to the recruiter and to other developers, to hiring managers, that you can deliver a product in production, all right? That you can structure an idea, solve a problem, and translate that into code at the end of the day. All right. The second question here, should I publish all my projects on GitHub? So every now or then we have some ideas, we create some POCs, we want only to test a different feature of a particular programming language or maybe from a technical tool. And should you publish everything? So this is really particular. So what I do, I like to publish most of my work, and then I decide whether I should keep it as public or as private. But every once in a while, I like to delete the project that I'm not using anymore. So I only keep the ones that are more relevant for me. But it's up to you. You can either keep it as private, then no one will be able to see that, and then you have no problem at all about it. Or you can just delete that if you don't think it's relevant anymore for you. I would say that my advice is only keep public the ones that you think are relevant for your professional career and the ones that you truly want to show to everyone else, because they are public, so anyone can go there and see it, of course, right? And last but not the least, is GitHub safe? Will someone else have access to my code? Yeah, so GitHub is really safe. So in their website, they mention several actions that they do to enhance their safety, their security. So no one else will have access to your code. They will only have access to your code if you keep your products as public. Okay, so if you keep them as private, no one else will have access to your code unless they have access to your account. So a tip there for you is keep 2FA, so second factor authentication, on in your account. So it will be way harder for someone else to hack your account. And then when you log in GitHub, you will be asked to go to an app in your cell phone or maybe in another device and pick up a code and insert that, so you have this other this second factor authentication, right? And this will also be really useful for you to enhance the security of your GitHub. Okay, but in general, GitHub is really safe. As I mentioned before, 73 million developers use that, and more than 4 million organizations. So you, on my opinion, you don't have to be concerned about that at all. All right. So this was all for today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. I will always be available. And I hope you have an amazing week. Okay? Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Marilo, for this amazing session on GitHub, because GitHub, everybody, that is something that every developer knows the importance of, how much it's noticed. Even yesterday in Ala's session, even she was saying that it's your GitHub repository and it's on GitHub that matters the most. So yes, so everybody, we'll be having our last and most important amazing session. It's going to be very important, and we are going to be concluding it soon, the event. So stay tuned. I'll be joining back in 5 minutes. So have fun, have your coffee ready or glass of water, because we're going to be back soon.